This video is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc. If you're looking for cards in the US, look no further as you can use the promo code MTGMudsta to get you 5% off anything on the site. You can also use the promo code MTGMudsta for 5% off your orders from Face to Face Games, Canada's largest Magic the Gathering store, with qualified orders getting free shipping Canada-wide. And if you just want to help out the channel, you can always consider becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month and join the generic Goblin Gang. Hey gang, I just wanted to let you know that for the next month, I've teamed up with the awesome crew over at cardtrader.com. What is CardTrader, you're asking? It's an online marketplace where individuals and stores around the world can list their cards for sale. Chances are if you're looking for it, they've got it. With an easy to navigate and user-friendly web space, you'll be able to find what you need in no time. Plus, they offer an amazing service called CardTrader Zero, which makes getting your cards from various countries even simpler. For example, I can order a Breeding Pool from Italy, a Dark Ritual from Finland, and a Reanimate from the UK. They're all then sent to a central hub nearest you for only a small fee, packaged all together, and then shipped your way in one easy shipment. They've also got an optimized shopper to help you find the best possible prices on the card you want. Simply put, if you want to save yourself a headache, use CardTrader. It lets you support local game stores across Europe, save on cards, and save on shipping. If you're interested in checking it out, be sure to sign up with my referral code shown here and in the video description below. Hey gang, and welcome back. Today's game is another multi-zone matchup, with Maxim playing Kitt Kanto, Mayhem Diva. He keeps Game Trail, Sandward Convergence, Mountain, Selvala Explorer Returned, Plains, Harmonize, and Master of Ceremony. Felix is back with Tymna the Weaver and Ikra, keeping an Exotic Orchard, Swamp, Plains, Forest, Cultivate, Noxious Gearhulk, and Demonic Tutor. Jalbel is playing Perrie the Pulverizer, keeping an Aven Courier, Mindless Automaton, Crow's Defense Contractor, Graceful Apparition, Plains, and Hollowed Fountain. Last but not least, Marie is playing her Kaalia the Vast, keeping Rakdos Signet, Achroma Angel Fury, Swamp, Lightning Greaves, Deflecting Swat, Archfiend of Despair, and a Command Tower. Maxim wins the die roll and starts us off. He draws and plays a tap Game Trail. Felix draws and plays a Forest. Jalbel has a Flooded Strand, cracking it and losing 1 to find a Breeding Pool. Marie draws and plays a Command Tower. Maxim plays a Mountain and casts a Sukur Tribe Elder. Felix draws, plays a Plains, and pays 1 for a Serra Ascendant, immediately becoming the archenemy of the table and passing turn. Jalbel draws, plays a Plains, and casts a Grateful Apparition, passing turn. Marie has a Plains as well, and casts a Rakdos Signet. She passes, and at the end of turn, Maxim sacrifices the Elder to go and find a Plains. Maxim draws, and plays a Forest. He casts Kitt Kanto, creating a Citizen as it enters, and passes turn. Felix draws, and plays a Swamp. He pays 3 for Tymna, and goes straight to combat. Moving to combat, Maxim taps Kitt Kanto and the Citizen to goad the Serra Ascendant and give it +2/+2 in Trample. This has Felix swing it at Marie for 8, and gains 8, and he then passes turn. Jalbel draws, and plays a Reflecting Pool. He pays 2 for a Wall of Root, and once it's out, puts a 0/-1 counter onto it to add a green mana, and then casts an Aven Courier, passing turn. Marie draws, and plays a Swamp. She then casts Kaalia, and passes turn. Maxim draws, playing a Jungle Shrine which comes in tapped, and then casts Master of Ceremonies. Felix plays an Exotic Orchard, and casts Soul Ring, followed by Cultivate. He goes to find a Swamp and a Plains, putting the Swamp into play tapped. He then casts a Demonic Tutor, and goes to find a card. Moving to combat, Maxim once more taps Kitt Kanto and the Citizen, goading the Serra Ascendant and giving it +2/+2 in Trample. Once more, Felix swings it at Marie for 8 and gains 8, and then passes turn. Jalbel draws and plays a Hollowed Fountain untapped, taking 2. He then casts Perrie, who enters with a shield counter on it. Moving to combat, he swings at Felix with the Avian Courier and the Apparition. On attack, he gets to put a shield counter onto the Apparition, and then as his creatures connect, proliferates, and puts another shield counter onto it. Following that, he passes turn. Marie has a Plains and casts Lightning Greaves, followed by Giver of Runes. She equips the Greaves onto the Giver and moves to combat. She swings her commander at Felix, putting an Archfiend of Despair into play tapped, and attacking for a total of 8 damage, 2 of which is commander. She then passes turn, and at her end step, Felix loses another 8 because of the Archfiend trigger. On Maxim's upkeep, the Master of Ceremonies triggers, with Felix creating a treasure while Jalbert and Marie both draw a card. This has Maxim drawing 2 cards and creating a treasure token of his own. He then draws and plays a Cinder Glade, followed by Gahiji, Honored One, passing turn after that. Felix draws and plays a Plains. He pays 6 mana for a Noxious Gearhulk, who as it enters, targets Kaalia, but Marie responds by giving it pro-black by tapping the Giver of Ruins. Felix then casts a Children of Corliss and passes turn. Jalbert draws and plays Cross Defense Contractor, and then also moves to combat. He swings at Marie with the Apparition and the Courier, and Perrie going at Marie, and all the creatures gain +2/+0 because of Akiji, and has Perrie's on attack trigger go on itself. He then deals 13 damage and proliferates thanks to the Apparition. Once that's done, he passes to Marie. Marie draws and casts Swiftfoot Boots, and attaches those to Kaalia. Moving to combat, Maxim taps Kitt Kanto and the Citizen to goad the Archfiend of Despair and give it +2/+2 and trample. She swings the Archfiend at Felix and Kaalia at Jalbert, and both of her creatures get +2/+0 because of Gahiji. She then resolves her Kaalia trigger, putting out Lies Forgotten Angel onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking Jalbert. Felix blocks with a Serra Ascendant, taking 4, while Jalbert takes it all, going down to 29. Marie also gains 4 life thanks to Lies, and at her end step, Jalbert loses another 8, and Felix loses another 4 from the Archfiend triggers. On Maxim's upkeep, Master of Ceremonies triggers, and everyone decides to draw a card. This has Maxim drawing 3 cards, and then drawing 1 for turn. He plays a Forest, and then taps out for Sandworm Convergence. On his end step, he discards down to hand size, and makes a 5/5 worm. Felix draws, and goes straight to combat, swinging the Gearhulk at Marie, but she casts Swords to Plowshares, exiling it. He doesn't gain a life because of the Archfiend though, which is pretty sweet. On his second main phase, he casts Kambal, Console Allocations. Once the creature's resolved, he casts Swiftfoot Boots, and then equips him onto Kambal and passes turn. Jalbert puts a shield counter on Maxim Gahiji thanks to Cross, and then goads it and taps it, and he draws a card, and then plays an island in his main phase. He puts another -0/-1 counter onto his wall for a green mana to cast Invoke the Ancient. He puts a Vigilance counter on the Elemental and a Reach counter on the other. Moving to combat, he swings at Marie with everything that he can attack with, putting a shield counter on the Courier, and then deals enough damage to take her out. He's then able to proliferate from connecting, and after that passes turn. On Maxim's upkeep, both Felix and Jalbert draw a card, making Maxim draw 2, and then another in his draw step. He plays a Rugged Perrie, and then casts Harmonize, which has Felix gaining 2 and Maxim losing 2. He then plays a Rasta of the Endless Web. Moving to combat, he has to swing Gahiji, and it goes at Felix for 6 unblocked damage. Felix decides not to block Gahiji, and before combat is finished, sacrifices the Children of Corliss to gain that 6 back. On his end step, he creates a Worm token, and discards to hand size before passing. Felix plays a Witch's Clinic, followed by an Eternal Witness, returning the Ascendant to his hand, and then casting it again. He attaches the boots to it, and then casts Veto. Moving to combat, he swings at Jalbert with the Serra Ascendant for 8, and gains 8. And Felix then makes Max lose 8 because of the Veto trigger. During his second main phase, he loses 1, and draws a card thanks to Tymna's trigger before passing turn. On his upkeep, Jalbert goads Kitt Kanto and puts a shield counter onto her, but forgets to tap it. He plays a Vivid Grove that enters with 2 counters onto it, and casts a Mindless Automaton, and follows up with a Devoted Druid. He then puts a -1/-1 counter onto the Druid. Moving to combat, Maxim taps Kitt Kanto and the Citizen to goad Perrie and give it +2/+2 and trample. Jalbert then swings Perrie, the Apparition, and the Spirit token with a Vigilance counter on it at Felix, putting him to 14 life, and he gets to proliferate upon connecting. With nothing else, he passes turn. On Maxim's upkeep, the Master of Ceremonies triggers with Jalbert drawing and Felix creating a Citizen, and Maxim gets to do both of those things. He then draws and plays a Mossfire Valley. Moving to combat, he taps Kitt Kanto and a Citizen to go to Worm token and give it +2/+2 in Trample. He then swings both worms at Jalbel and Gihiji at Felix. Jalbel blocks the worms, and before damage, Maxim casts Boros Charm, losing 2 and making Felix gain 2 to give double strike to his goaded worm. This kills the spirit and deals 5 trample damage to Jalbel, and Felix then takes the hit and drops to 11. On his second main phase, Maxim then casts a Leafkin Druid, followed by Selvala Explorer Returned. He then moves to his end step and makes a worm token. Felix draws and plays an Indatha Triome, followed by a Rock's Faithmender, and then a Witch of the Moors. Moving to combat, he swings the Ascendant at Jalbel, who blocks with a Courier, and with nothing else, passes turn. On his upkeep, Jalbel puts a shield counter onto Arasta to goad it, but forgets to tap it again. He then draws and plays a Vivid Meadow, followed by Inexorable Tide. He then casts Gavel the Righteous, and realizes he should have lost 2 from the Tide and 2 from the Gavel, and Felix gains 4. Felix gets veto triggers as well, making Max lose 4 as well. As he moves to combat, Maxim taps the Leafkin Druid and Selvala to goad Perrie and give it +2/+2 and Trample. Perrie has to go at Felix, and Cross goes at Maxim. He pumps Perrie by +X+X, where X is the amount of different kind of counters he's got on creatures, with Maxim taking 5, and Felix taking a big commander hit. The Master of Ceremony triggers on Maxim's upkeep, and Jalbel draws, and Felix creates a Citizen token, and Maxim gets to do both. He then draws and plays a Plains, and once that's done, casts Vivian Stampede. This has Kambal draining Max for 2, and Felix gaining 2, which is doubled to 4 thanks to the Rock's Faithmender, and then veto triggers, dealing another 4 to Maxim's face. Moving to combat, he swings Gihiji, Kitt Kanto, and Arasta at Felix, and both worms and the Master at Jalbel. He also taps 2 Citizens to give a worm +2/+2 in Trample. Even with blocks, Jalbel is still defeated, and Felix drops to 5 and loses all of his creatures after blocking, except for the Serra Ascendant. He then moves to his end step, making a worm token and passing turn. Felix draws and sees that he's got nothing in hand and concedes the game to Maxim. Game review time. My goodness, was there a lot of goad in New Capenna. I love the mechanic, but it just seems like it's everywhere. What I did like was that Max was using it aggressively on his own creatures to help give them that +2/+2 and Trample, which was kinda cool. I really like that Kitt Kanto triggers on your own combat step as well, since you're able to tap 2 creatures to basically give something Trample and +2/+2, which we saw Max use to great effect. I was actually more interested in Cross as the Bant commander than I was Perrie, but seeing Jalbel's Perrie deck has me rethinking that. His giant elephant man was beating face and doing a ton of damage. And I was so curious as to why Jalbel put the -1/-1 counter on the Devoted Druid the turn it came out, but it all made more sense once I realized that it made his commander even bigger. I think to this day, Kaalia still has a bit of stigma around her, and typically people are afraid of you cheating out giant dragons or demons. That's probably why Marie got taken out so early. Plus that Archfiend of Despair will make combat very, very dangerous, since if you lose half your life, you're basically dead. Felix's Tymna and Ikra deck was basically a life gain deck, and it wanted to use and abuse life gaining elements. The early Serra Ascendant certainly helped him pad his life total, and Kambal and Veto were doing a lot of damage later on. There were a few missed triggers I think with the Rock's Faithmender, which he should have gained a little bit more life, but it wasn't going to matter in the end. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, Cool Stuff Inc., Multizone, Original Magic Art, and Alter Sleeves. But it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.